Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Two Girls Without Cancer. We are on episode 5 or 6, I think, of season 2. We are here with a really special guest today who is going to talk about anxiety. That seems to be something that, you know,
a lot of people
who are sick deal with it. Even if you were not an anxious person before, you might deal with it now. Her name is Taimi Lawlor, and she runs a stretchbeyondyoga.com. She is a health coach, a yoga instructor, and an anxiety specialist. So without further ado, let me introduce Taimi to the show. Hello.
Hi.
Guys, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on today.
Yeah, no problem. So, we were talking off stage or behind the scenes, just about the things that you do. It's so interesting. Like Ashley and I had never really heard of anything quite like the things that you do. And so it would be cool for you to explain to our guests, like, who you are, what you do, how you got into this sort of thing. Like I said, it's going to be organic. Just go with it. No structure. I'm not going to stop and be like, you have to answer this question. No, it's just going to be super organic. So I guess tell everybody who you are, what you do.
Sure. My name is Taimi, and my company is called A Stretch Beyond Yoga, LLC. And I believe in mind-body healing. So that means the physiology, the brain, and the spirit. I do believe in energy. The deeper I get into the science, the deeper I also get into the woo. So I have a foot in both camps. But I struggled really significantly with anxiety. And it's funny, you guys had said, if you're sick, you have anxiety. I went to see Gabby Bernstein the other night. She was here in Boston, and she said, if you have a pulse, you probably have anxiety. And I thought, yeah, that's pretty true. I think the way we know to manage it depends on numerous factors. Of course, one of those is our nervous system. So that's where the yoga came in for me. But also, I do believe that you have to have, I not just believe, I know you have to have the physiology, and that starts with the cells. And so you have to have clean cells. And that will even go as so far as to affect how you think, how you act, the decisions you make. And then the more you tone the nervous system, however you do that, if it's through breath work, if it's through yoga, if it's through acupuncture, massage, chiropractic, talk therapy, you need to be connected to your body, and you need to be aware of your emotions. So I really, it's what helped me, and it's what has kept me, off anxiety medication for over a decade, running a business, moving across country during COVID, getting married, buying a house while running a business, like all the things. So I really believe in this work. It's my life's work. And I just keep adding skills, but I keep at the foundation, the 4, I guess, core components is the HTMA, the cellular testing, the low penetrance genetic testing, which is data, right, about your body, personalized data, and then yoga, because like I said, yoga, I love yoga. I'll teach it till the day I die. I really think it's what saved my life. It helped me find my soul. And then I also believe in tapping, emotional freedom technique. I use those a lot. Those are kind of my 4 areas that I really help my clients when they come to me and they want to conquer their anxiety, manage their anxiety, and improve their health in all aspects.
That's so interesting.
Right. So how do you do the testing for the cellular?
Sure. The cellular testing is a buccal swab, and it's a company, actually, they're in South Africa. So it's really cool because I have like trainers in South Africa, I have trainers in Canada. So I can all the people, I can meld their ideas. But it's a buccal swab, and your genes are your genes. So low penetrance means that these genes every gene has what's called a SNP, a single nucleotide polymorphism. And it could be misspelled, meaning when it copies, it doesn't copy correctly. So then when it's copying wrong, it's going to cause issues. Yeah, right. You guys know issues in the body. And my job with this test is to go through, hear your complaints, and find where that lines up with the SNPs that are misspelled, and then help to upregulate them or downregulate them with lifestyle, supplementation, diet. But then I realized that knowing that information pairs so nicely with the hair test, because with the hair test, you're looking at your minerals in the body, and you're looking at heavy metals, which unfortunately, like, there's no benefit to heavy metals, but we're all exposed to them because we live in modern culture. We don't have a choice. And lots of times the heavy metal, let's take lead, for example. Lead likes to sit on the cell receptor and block calcium. So now if you're an aging woman going through menopause and you have a lack of calcium, but you have lead sitting there, you're going to accelerate osteopenia and osteoarthritis much quicker than if you dump the lead and bring the calcium in. But you don't want to have too much calcium, because too much calcium can make you hold weight, blocks emotion. So there's this very fine dance that you do with minerals, and you have your main minerals, your secondary minerals, and your tertiary minerals. And so you get that balanced within you. And
you can see all that through the hair test.
You can see what is missing. You can, lots of times, I'll give you a simple example. A lot of times, people, especially on birth control, right? Because that's just how it is. You have to be on it. It increases copper, and copper and estrogen are like this. And copper is a very emotional mineral, and it's got to be just right. It's like Goldilocks. It has to be happy. If it's too high, there's usually estrogen dominance, and then it throws off zinc. So now you have a zinc deficiency, and now you're struggling with skin, acne, hair, nails, immunity.
What about iron?
So iron, I was just going to say.
That one's with the copper, is it not?
Yes, iron.
Because that's what happened. I was anemic, and then I seen a naturopath doctor, and he put me on copper.
Yes, because
it was small, but
sometimes you need it because there's an imbalance. Oftentimes with iron, because iron and copper really get metabolized and do their job in the liver. So most of us have dirty livers. So you clean the gut, you clean the liver, you support the copper and zinc, and usually iron will work its way out without needing support. But sometimes, there's an infection going on, and you see iron go high or low depending on gut infections like H. pylori. That's a big one. So there's an interplay that happens. Every mineral has people it likes and people it doesn't like. And so you have to figure out who likes who and how they work together, and then support those people. And a lot of, like going back to copper and iron, you need them to help with neurotransmitter support, with dopamine and serotonin. So it kind of, I just saw the similarities and the complements between the two tests. And I thought, oh my gosh, if you personalize this, how great would that be for people?
And so that's what you guys do, or that's what you do, is you're able to personalize it for their specific genes and body and cells and stuff?
Yes, based on the data. I look at both tests, and then I find where they complement each other and where I can create the most specific. Most of my clients want the supplements because, unfortunately, we need to have supplements because we don't get enough through our food. And the soil's dirty, and it's full of,
especially North America. Yes. America and Canada have
and the pesticides and all our stuff.
We eat. Right. So I know there's some naysayers about you shouldn't be supplementing, but really,
not over here. There's none. Not in this crowd. We have like cupboards and cupboards of supplements here.
Remember, I sent over what I was taking. She's like, "Oh, that's a lot." I'm like,
Right.
Do you have a suggestion for something like what would be good to clean out the liver to try and start getting everything going?
So usually in formulations, I put in milk thistle. Milk thistle is a great support. Dandelion root and dandelion leaf, depending on if there's kidney issues too. I can't say it's a liver support, but it's an Ayurvedic technique. I love castor oil packing, and that also helps the nervous system too.
Same. Same.
Yes.
And I stick it in my belly button.
Yes, I just heard about that.
I've been doing that one for a while, but you have to be careful with that one because you will have flu symptoms or diarrhea for about 5 days.
Cleaning me out. Perfect.
But once that stabilizes, you're okay.
Yes, I know. I always tell people there's nothing wrong with diarrhea. Like, get it out.
You know what? I just feel like when I have, if I'm taking something and I have diarrhea, I'm like, oh, it's not bad for me. No, this is my body's response to junk being disrupted and moved out. I read it about parasites. I've read it about SIBO. I've read it out
because I'm struggling with SIBO right now, and I have methane and hydrogen SIBO, and I just had a relapse as of yesterday, and I was out for 2 weeks. Before that, I was good for a month, and then I was bad pretty much for almost a year. It's been a struggle, but that's why when I put the castor oil in, it will give me, because I go in stages where I use it, and then it will clean me out, and then I'll stop for a little bit. But It's a roller coaster with
Yeah,
it.
I like I know I have a certain brand of sulforaphane that can help with SIBO, and then
Like
sometimes
broccoli, from broccoli,
hmm
right?
yep.
Alfalfa.
I was
I think
just
I actually have
actually
some I can just give you.
reading about the are they Brussels sprouts? No, not that. Bean. What are the little ones?
Brocco sprouts.
Yeah, something like that.
That's what
Oh,
it's
like
That's
for.
what I was reading about.
Yes.
like
And then
broccoli
they,
microgreens.
yeah, and they
Oh,
put it into
hmm
capsules now.
Yes, sulforaphane. I use a
So I
specific
wasn't
company.
sure if I should try it yet or not. So definitely.
Only a certain company is good at a
Yeah.
certain dosing. You have to eat 2.5 pounds of broccoli a day to get the
Mhm.
oh,
same type
good.
of support. Like, who has time for that or
Ah,
wants to do
I'm
that?
not even supposed to have it was because I have the two that are mixed. So then it just constipates me
Increases.
and bloats me. So
Yeah,
I would rather do it capsule, I think, than eating it.
definitely. Another great thing is when you look at binders, which I use in
Yeah.
HTMA, so zeolite, humic fulvic, diatomaceous earth, all of
mhm.
those help to restore the gut depending on what's going on,
What
and they're
about
very gentle.
like chlorella or like a bentonite clay?
I've been using a
Charcoal.
charcoal.
Charcoal, I think, is only good short term, is it not?
Yeah.
Like
Like a couple days.
super, yeah, like you have the stomach flu and or you've got food
Hmm.
poisoning and you want to
So
detox.
which one would you suggest then?
I'd have to look
Oh,
and
I guess, yeah.
see, and testing too. I mean, I can
Hmm.
speak like in generalities. Like I
Yeah.
use zeolite's amazing. Zeolite is
Mhm.
good
I
too.
have those two.
I haven't tried
Yeah,
that one.
love it. And actually, my Vicon, the formula I use is in out of Canada, and they're amazing.
Oh, nice.
Um,
Hmm.
she uses a zeolite that's so clean. I do that a lot when there's high copper, humic fulvic when there's gut disruption. So
Yeah.
more what's going on, with SIBO,
Hmm.
H. pylori, and then diatomaceous earth sometimes
Hmm.
too can be used. I stay in that realm. I don't
Mhm.
use any
Hmm.
others. I'll dabble with charcoal, like I said, if someone's
Hmm.
sick.
But short term.
Yeah,
Hmm.
definitely. But all those are great things to do gently every day,
Hmm.
to keep things moving. I often find that because I used to, do start with Dutch and GI map, and now I realize like start with the cell, go right to the cell and
Hmm.
clean the
That makes
cell,
sense.
and then everything else. So I can usually fix somebody's gut. It takes about a year, which I know people they're like,
Hmm.
oh, because I want the quick
I
fix.
want a week.
Yeah,
Do it
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yes, I am people.
yes.
I would,
But
I would, I would do it.
in
If
a
it took that
year,
long for the rest of my life, I don't have to live like this.
Well, I mean, this is what I tell my clients too. Like, you didn't get this way overnight. This is
Hmm.
years of damage. So, like,
Hmm.
expect that it's not going to be one bottle of something
Right.
and then you're
It's gonna
better.
take time.
Some things will definitely help it, and you will
Hmm.
feel better almost immediately on some products,
Hmm.
but like, don't expect it to be completely healed overnight.
Hmm.
right.
Not even close.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Hmm.
Right. And it's lifelong. Like you're also deciding that you value your health enough that you're going to put it first. This is a lifelong
Hmm.
value system now that you put into place. So is it more important to go on vacation or get your kitchen redone and still feel
Hmm.
like garbage? Or do you think you want to start putting these new habits in place? And
Hmm.
then when you go on that vacation or you redo your kitchen, you
Hmm.
actually can enjoy it. That's
Hmm.
how I think about it. Because I think that's
Okay.
the
Yeah.
biggest, people don't want to spend the money, but spend the money now or spend it later because that's
But
what's
then,
going
Yes.
to
or
happen.
you're gonna get really sick, and then what are you gonna do then?
Well, there's
Right?
posts always on Instagram. It's like, you think, the gym sucks. You hate going to the gym, but try being sick, like so sick that you're weak, like
Hmm.
that you
Yeah.
can't, or
Hmm.
like you think it's expensive to buy supplements. Well, like try a long-term chronic
Hmm.
illness. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's so true. If you put a little bit forward now, it
Hmm.
is going to pay off in the
In the
long
long
run.
run.
And I
Hmm.
think
Totally.
too, like we've talked about this a
Hmm.
couple episodes ago, that like I just feel like there's no joy in a lot of things like post being sick. And I'm
Hmm.
sure a lot of that has to do with major gut issues. It's affecting my mental health.
Hmm.
But two,
Totally.
it's like I don't know, I just don't enjoy things. And it's probably because I'm in pain a lot.
Hmm.
Like the foods I eat make me not feel great. And it's like the things I once loved, like going
Hmm.
to a restaurant or a certain food that I used to love, like there's
Hmm.
zero joy in it for me now.
I actually stopped eating because it was at the point where I was swollen for 55 days, and anything I put in my body was just, I couldn't do it. And then I was intermittent fasting, or then I fasted for a few days, and then it settled things. But it's hard. You're not happy. you live in a state where it's so toxic because everything's being reabsorbed into your body, right?
That's why I love
So-
diarrhea. That's why it's the best. Get it out.
Is it true?
So like I'm really big on like, let's get those elimination organs eliminating, right? Like let's get the bowels moving. Let's start sweating. Let's start breathing properly, because otherwise you're just reabsorbing those toxins. You're just holding on to them. Where do you think they're going?
Back
Probably in your lymph nodes and your tissues.
Yes. And I mean, you think about how many people walk around just feeling like garbage.
Trash all the time.
And just
But
push
it becomes
through.
so numb to them yet, and it's their everyday.
Oh, I remember that, and it's I'll never want to go back there again. It's just it's awful, because now when you start to feel good, it's like how you slip up. You see people do it in the beginning. I know I did too. You'd fall back, you'd eat the bad food, you do the thing. But once you start to feel good, it's like a whole new world.
Oh yeah.
I've been working with some products for gut healing. My guts are awful, and I don't know why I did it. I went on antibiotics recently, knowing how hard they are on me, but like I could not post chemo. Like when I get an infection, it's very tough to recover from it.
I bet.
And so I waited weeks before I finally agreed to go on the antibiotics, and of course it cleared it up immediately. And then within like days, just eating even like something spicy, instant pain. Instant pain. And I was like, oh no, what have I done? So I've been very mindful about trying to heal my gut lately. And like, what a difference, like just in a short time. Again, it's not my problem solved by any means. This is a long-term thing. But like even just a little bit of, products and mindfulness go a huge way. Like your body, and I tell my clients this too, like your body wants to be healthy. It knows how to be healthy. We've just done so much damage that we just need to put it back on the right track.
That's why it's good to have stuff that you offer to be able to help people to get it back on track. Right?
I mean, and I do think it's important too, like you were talking about, just breathing and slowing down, right? It's so hard to, we think we're machines, and we're so busy. And we have so many toxins coming at us. So I do think it's also important to work on learning how to, tone your nervous system, however that is. Even maybe if it's just walks in nature, those are simple and free, right? But that's an important piece, because your thoughts also, that drives how your cells are going to copy, how your DNA is going to copy. So that's something that needs to be, it's a whole new world when you decide to go this path.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think that they can do one thing to heal themselves, and that's the end of it. So of course you have the conventional medicine route where they think, well, I'm just going to go on this antibiotic and all my problems are going to be solved, and that's it.
And that creates how many problems after it?
I actually, this is terrible. I actually saw a client recently. They said that their mother would buy antibiotics in Mexico because it's so unregulated. And anytime there was a hint of sniffles, here, take this, here, take this, here, take this. So now, 20 years later, this poor client is struggling with gut stuff big time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God. And like, this person and their partner both knew that it was like a terrible idea, but you're, as a child, what do you know, right?
No, you don't know. And you're here, the person you love and trust is giving you this medication.
And maybe that person doesn't understand either.
She probably thought she was doing the right thing. Also, nip it in the bud is what she would say, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, so you have your conventional medicine route where you think like your doctor is going to heal you, and that's that. And then you have the holistic route where you think, well, maybe if I just do, like some more vitamin C, then I'm going to be better. But people don't realize there is a myriad of things that you really should be doing and looking at, because even if, you need to boost your immune system with vitamin C's and things like that, what about your gut health? What about your liver health? What about your brain health? Like everything.
I had someone reach out to me, also had cancer, and they were trying to, they just wanted advice, what I did. And I was explaining, the biggest thing is working on your liver. You want to, like for me, you have to detox. And they're like, well, I don't have cancer in my liver. I'm like, I understand that. But it's a whole, it's greater than that, you know,
right. Detox organ.
But you're not told this when you go see an oncologist.
No.
You're not told this when you see a doctor. You're not told this. So how are we supposed to believe it? Or, you know, other people who are not in where we are now in the holistic and all that.
Right.
But everyone's so oblivious to those things because we're not told it by our doctors, right?
Right. I think there's two types of people. There are the people that, I don't want to say it's a victim mentality, right? It's just like you said, people that want to stay in the box. How about this? You want to stay in the box. The box is safe, and you're going to do whatever the person with the white coat is telling you, and you're just going to do it. And you feel like garbage, but you're just going to do it because maybe you're not even aware.
The trust people.
The
stay home, stay safe people.
But we're not also saying they're wrong. It's just they haven't included the other aspects of stuff, right?
Right. The people out of the box. And listen, I'm sure there are people that stay in the box and get very healthy and it works for them because something, you know, there's different things for everybody and something works for everybody. The people that step out of the box are usually the people that didn't get the answers they wanted, that still feel like garbage or have this like, I don't know. This gut intuition to be like for me, I'll never forget. The doctor was like, you're going to need this antidepressant the rest of your life, like a diabetic needs insulin. And at that moment I thought, no.
For the rest of your life, knowing that your body is real smart. Your body loves to be healthy and you have to be on it for the rest of your life, dependent on it.
But right from her perspective in that container and what she saw with clients, it was probably successful and it worked. Terrible. But then I came along and was like obstinate and, you know, all the reasons. Vanity was a huge reason I didn't want to be on it. And how about ego? Like just, you know, having to be dependent on something. And truly, I wanted to fix it. And I know fix is such a, you know, we're not widgets, we're not robots, but that really can go to, I wanted to get to the root of why. Why was it happening? Where was it coming from? How could I make it better?
It's always a root cause.
Right. And because I was curious, it brought me on a journey and I obtained so many skills, which now I can carry forward to help people. And one of those is yoga. And let's say you want to stay in the box and be in the Western medicine, but you still got to move your body because it's still important and you still need to connect to your breath. You still have a nervous system. So there's, you know, I think that the healing world and the Western world, the two worlds can meld together and complement
that's what we say all the time.
Yes. I'm not downplaying. Well, I kind of am. I hate chemo and radiation. I think it's horrible.
Sure.
I do too.
I did it only because I did tons of holistic things and I thought, let's hit it with everything, but like at least get my body strong enough to handle those. However, I still hate them, but I do think they do work for some people, like you said. I can't imagine like if you only did chemo and you only did radiation and surgery, like how weak you must be today, because I do all the things holistically. I try and heal everything. And I still struggle. So like, I can't even imagine what these people are going through.
I didn't even do chemo radiation. I had 3 surgeries in 8 months and I'm still just dragon. It's the 2 years that this journey started. It's been 2 years, but it's not easy and it's not quick, but
I'm wondering who these people are who like are just fine after.
Me too.
Like any and not talking cancer, like any traumatic experience. If you're not holistically healing, where is it? No, I don't think they are. I think they're repressing.
I was strong, right?
I think it's repression, 1,000,000%. I was such a repressor before this journey, and now I'm like, something bothered me from 20 years ago, and I'm like crying about it. But it's like, it's good. It's you got to get it out. Your body doesn't want to hold on to that. That's the other thing too,
because it does make you sick.
Yes, you guys have you read The Body Keeps the Score?
I have it downloaded as we speak on Audible. I keep meaning to listen to it.
Say that again. What is it?
The Body Keeps Score.
The Body Keeps the Score. It was the first 100 pages are very heavy science, sciencey, technical. They go through, I mean, study after study. He started with veterans. He's a psychiatrist. I want to say German. That's not right. I think Dutch. And just how he was working with vets and they weren't getting better. Their mental health was not getting better. And they were taking the drugs and they were doing the things. and it wasn't working. And then he was like, wait, that's because we store trauma in the body. And so
Mm-hmm.
then the last 100 page, well, so it's a 400-page book. It's the first 300 pages, I reversed that are all very much into what he discovered and his research, study after study. It's fascinating if you like to nerd out on that. And then
I
the
do.
last 100 page,
I
the
can't read
last
books.
100
Someone's got to
page.
read it to
It's
me.
on
I need
Audible.
You got to
that.
listen
I
to
need
it.
that.
I
Yeah.
downloaded it on Audible. The problem is
I'll
I
fall
don't
asleep.
drive really anywhere for 16 hours that I can
Right.
just listen to it. So it's
When
like
you're
4
cleaning your
minutes.
house, put it on.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I
Yeah.
wanted to go back to something you had said earlier. You had said that you try, different minerals and supplements on your clients, but not everything works for them. So is there something that you do to test it, or is it literally just try it out, see how you feel, come on back, or do you muscle test, or do you do anything
Oh,
like that?
no, usually after I get the data from the 9 times out of 10, when I get the data, like if the people come to me and they tell me their ailments, they want to supplement, I won't make recommendations after like, basic magnesium, fish oil, some probiotics,
Mhm.
something like that. But once we do the testing and I see the two tests together and I see the results, we create the plan.
Mhm.
Sometimes with the titration of the minerals, because right, you had said something really cool earlier. You said, when you put something in, you might have diarrhea because you're changing. Yeah, every time you
Mhm.
put stuff into the body, it's
Mhm.
like fertilizer. You're
Mhm.
retilling the field, so stuff's going to move around.
Oh, I love that. The
The
weeds are coming out.
microbiomes, yeah, and the microbiome's pissed because you're
Yeah.
trying to fix it.
Mhm.
So they might have some Herx reactions going on,
Oh,
meaning,
oh
right?
yes.
Yeah. And then you just support them, usually through the binder, through, maybe playing around with some extra magnesium. It all depends. Every body is different. And then through the first round of the minerals, my clients are always reporting more energy. They're
Mhm.
reporting better
Good.
bowels. I've gotten people, obviously they've worked with their doctor. I've supported their brain in such a way, because when you support the neurotransmitters through the process of methylation. These are all, like, I know, crazy big words. Um, when you give the body the right
Mhm.
minerals and vitamins, then the cells can work and the gears can turn and you can
Mhm.
make serotonin and dopamine. And then those people can go back to their doctor and be like, hey, I don't have anxiety anymore. And then
Mhm.
they work with their doctor to titrate off their anxiety meds. That is my biggest. I've had so many clients do that. That is my, like, happiest day when I hear that.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of people too. I've seen a lot of thyroid stuff too. So I catch
Mhm.
a lot of thyroid, which also is connected to anxiety and depression.
Mhm.
I
Mm.
support again with iodine, minerals.
Mhm.
And over time, I've kept people out of pain. We're talking
Mhm.
my clients that have been on minerals now for over a year, out of pain, pelvic pain, out of face pain. And I'm getting very close to helping people regulate their blood pressure.
So do you have to retest after the first round of supplements, and then you
Mm.
retest, and then?
You do. So you do.
Mhm.
That's the one thing. So with the 3x4 genetic blueprint, your genes are always your genes. So once we
Mhm.
test it once, we know what's going on. And
Mhm.
it's such a large document that you can always go back to it when your health starts to change. With the
Mhm. Makes
minerals,
sense.
yes, every 4 months you have to retest. I say for the first year.
Right.
So you're running 3 to 4 tests. After that, I know what the body wants. I've pretty much taking care of the major ailments, and then I can make the formulations longer. You only have to retest once a year. You
Mhm.
you know have your formulation for 6 to 8 months. You reorder when you want. You go on your way. I suggest to people to retest once a year because cells turn over, life changes,
Hormone.
stress happens, and you want to make sure that you're staying on top of it. You're
Mhm.
optimizing the body the best you can.
Makes sense.
Mm, that is so
Yeah,
cool.
Right?
I want to
yeah.
do this. I
Me
want to do it as a
too.
job. I want to.
That's right.
I love
It,
this.
it's funny, when I first learned this test, I had taken a Dutch training and I was like, oh, this is really awesome. Hormones. Okay. But then I'm not a prescriber. So I was like sending, people were going to their nurse practitioner and getting like their
Mhm.
hormones done.
Mhm.
And then I found HTMA and I was like, I don't like this. This is hard to read. But now it's like, I love it. Like it's a
Mhm.
test of patterns, and there's a lot of information because every mineral has people it likes and it doesn't like, and everybody's working against each other. But
Mhm.
when you start to
Mhm.
find the pattern and then you start to hear the
Interesting.
results, it's amazing. Like
Mhm.
all people come to me with gut stuff. I say, don't do a GI map first. We're doing HTMA first. It's the cheapest of functional tests. If money is an issue, it's only $71. Like,
Hmm.
Wow.
that's amazing. When you're paying 300 or 400 for just to get and I'm
Yes.
not opposed to those tests because
Mhm.
every test plays a role. I just have married myself to these two tests because I believe in them so deeply.
So it's HTMA, and what was the other one?
Yeah, HTMA stands for Hair Tissue Mineral Analysis Test, and then 3x4 Genetic Blueprint. There's lots of genetic tests out there. I picked this one because it was easy for the consumer to look at, and it's a pretty package. And genetics is a very difficult subject, and again, this is probably going to piss off people that are true geneticists, and I apologize, but I'm looking at preventative, personalized lifestyle, and these are the 166 genes that you can affect. Like, for example, there's one called FOOT2, and that has to do with being prone to severe gut infections, and it has like little, like, I don't know, sugary, like I must have it because I love sugar, little sugary antennas that it draws to in the gut. And when you have this SNP, you draw onto that sugar, you draw onto that bacteria, and you keep your propensity for gut infections is very high. So you have to, so once you know that, you're like, okay, you have this SNP, here's what you have to do to keep those little sugary guys somewhat under control.
Interesting. Yeah. So I was watching a Instagram live the other day of a doctor I really like, and someone had asked him about SIBO, and so I immediately was like, okay, I need to write everything down for Ashley. And he only touched on it just briefly, but he had said, like, you need to cut out all the sugar, like, immediately. What are your thoughts on that?
No, it's true. It's so inflammatory. It's so hard. And I think that's why the GLP-1s, the peptides, are doing so well, because women with PCOS, women with endometriosis, women with gut stuff, it's all related to insulin. And if you're a child of the 80s like I was, like, you grew up on Kool-Aid and Tang, like, you were screwed. You know what I mean? Like, my genetics sucked, and so did my lifestyle. So I think, would I love to be able to cut out sugar completely? Yes. Like, natural sugars, of course not. No. But all the artificial stuff, yes. It's for Hashimoto's, like I have Hashimoto's. That's a big part of, sugar's the devil. It's probably going to kill us more than anything else.
Yeah, literally. So when you say natural or processed, so like if you were eating fruit or honey, that's a good thing. Or
that can be strict too, because
I
depending
can't have
on
honey on for SIBO, it ferments in the stomach. So
right,
honey
that's
I can't have. Yeah.
Right.
There's only certain, so I can have the acidic fruits, and like I can have an orange, I can have kiwi and grapefruit and lemons and limes, but if only a little bit amount of berries. But if I have all apples will make my stomach swell up. Garlic, onions, it's
it's interesting too, because again, I started not only with Dutch, I started with food testing, and now again that I know deeper, starting with the cell. When you have a histamine issue, and histamine is made
actually my girlfriend and I were talking about. She has a kidney transplant. She's dealing with the same thing, her stomach swelling and stuff, and she was doing research about histamine. I don't know much about that yet, but
that's a huge piece. It's made in 3 places. It's made in the gut, it's made in the cells, and it's in the nervous system. And so when you have high histamine, what it means is that you can't break it down, you can't degrade it. So the histamine is like the air raid siren to, let's say, like, the armed forces to come out and attack. So that air raid siren just keeps going off, and those soldiers just keep coming out to fight. So you have histamine now married to inflammation, and then inflammation and oxidative stress. So now you have all 3. So you're internally rusting, you're inflamed everywhere, and you have high histamine, you can't get rid of it. So if you look at going after bringing down histamine and bringing down inflammation, you don't really have to start avoiding foods for long periods of time. Some foods, yes, but not all the foods on the list that say, you shouldn't do, because you need to, again, go to the root, and those are the roots.
But how do you test for the high histamine? Is there a test for it?
Yeah, sometimes you can do blood test, and I see it through 3x4. I can figure out what SNPs you have. So if your SNPs are there, meaning the air raid sirens going off in this location or that location, then we look at the supports that are needed to try to turn that inflammation down. But it goes back to the cell. It goes back to the major parts: methylation, inflammation, detoxification, and oxidative stress. Those are all in the cell and the liver, like you were talking about. Everything hits the liver. You fix that, you usually can fix a lot of things. It takes time.
Interesting. Yeah.
Unless there's mold or Lyme or something, there's other issues going on. Of course, there always usually are, but it's like an onion. You got to peel the layers to find out. Parasites.
Yep. I had those too. I had microscopic parasites when I was just after my second surgery.
I mean, like a lot of people do.
Yeah.
North America is very confident in their food, and they shouldn't be, because it's actually pretty disgusting. Most of our food.
But a lot of people don't know they have them.
Oh, right.
No. I see them with anxiety. I'm starting to catch it with people. If I can't kick their anxiety, it's indicative of a parasite.
Yeah.
I just started talking to Cellcore. I haven't used them yet, but they're a supplement company that really they have a whole line. It's called Para One, or each product is labeled, and you're literally, I guess, pooping out worms by the end of the detox.
Interesting. Right? So I don't know if it was a mistake to join. I joined a Facebook group on parasites, thinking, okay, this is cool to learn, like in my line of work, I see parasites and stuff like that. However, people be posting pictures all the time, and like, how are you seeing it? Because a lot of these are very small. How'd you get in there to see it? But they do. They find it. They open it up and they show it. So, like, join the group. It's very interesting, but like, join at your own discretion, because it's pretty gross. But it's crazy. I'm like, how are they getting these out? Like, I am a coffee enema fiend. I do them all the time. So like, and like after Mexico, my doctors put me on ivermectin, and then I came home and started doing coffee enemas. So like, I've never really seen anything, probably because I'm constantly doing that. I take, glutathione and stuff as well. So my liver is just constantly expelling. But for some people, they're seeing it. It is wild.
I had a client that was eating a lot of sushi. I will not, after this, I will not eat sushi again. No. But I just ate bad lettuce like a month ago and had giardia. And I'm like...
Yes. Exactly. I know my instructor had told me that she had done live blood analysis on a pig farmer, and like the amount of parasites. I know pigs I love, but man, they are filthy, unfortunately.
I know, and I've been eating a lot of pork lately because I can't turkey. I just can't choke it down all the time.
I agree with you.
I need to not do that.
So just backing up again, you had talked about PCOS and Hashimoto's as well. I have been doing some reading into these things, and a lot of people are saying that a carnivore diet is very helpful for these diseases. What are your thoughts on, extremes like a carnivore diet, or are you more about balance?
I've heard that I'm more about balance, maybe for the short term if you need to get over a hump. Like, it's anything. I'll even talk about anxiety meds. You need an SSRI for 6 months to a year to get over something major, you do it. You do what you need to do to get through. But long term, I think, unless you're like managing a very specific illness, and there are certain, people with mast cell who have very sensitive systems. I think, again, going back to getting to the root. Don't just, use that food for a while, but keep digging as to why the GI tract is. But then it speaks to insulin though too, because insulin is such a tricky wick, and the heavier carnivore you go, the more likely you are to probably manage your insulin because you're not putting in any refined. There's that big fight about carbohydrates.
Yes, there is. I hear so many things. When I first got sick, a shared doctor that her and I had said, your best course of action is a keto diet, but not the cream cheese and bacon keto, like the clean keto that's literally no carbs. He's like, that's probably your best bet. Lightly steamed vegetables and clean meats. I didn't listen, but like, it's there. It's in my head for sure.
Right.
I thought there.
Well,
you've gotten better.
Like, to the HTMA, the hair tissue test, there's patterns, and most women are what we call slow oxidizers, and slow oxidizers can't break down fats very well. So if you're eating a heavy keto-based diet and you're a slow oxidizer, you're not helping yourself at a cellular level. So again, it's like data. Some of it has to be trial and error, but I really believe get as many data points as you can, and then you can do trial and error quicker and faster.
Yes.
Now, this might be a silly question, but can you still do the test if your hair is dyed? Like colored?
Oh, yeah, yes. I just
Okay.
tell people to wait 2 weeks.
Okay.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Just so you get the regrowth out? Okay.
yeah, the newest hair comes at the nape of the neck.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you take some from there, but I take from all over because I want a vast sample. But you always take from here because that's where your newest hair comes in
Mm-hmm.
fast and quick.
Oh, is that
Interesting.
true? Is that why I'm always having
Mhm.
to shave my neck?
Mhm.
I wear wigs, and so like my hair is pretty short still from
Uh,
regrowing from chemo, and I'm like forever. Like my husband or my friends, like you need to deal with that. Like God, I don't know how to do this. I've never not had hair before. That makes sense. Okay. Okay, well, that was amazing. Like, I feel like my head is so full of
I have
knowledge
so many
right now.
questions.
I have so many questions. We are friends now.
Yeah.
If people want to find you,
Sure.
let them know where they can.
Yes, I'm on Instagram, a Stretch Band Yoga, and TikTok, a Stretch Band Yoga. My website is a Stretch Band Yoga, and Taimi Lawlor on Facebook. But I'm on Instagram the most. Like that's
On
where you'll
Instagram the
find me,
most.
giving a lot of free content. Yeah,
Amazing. And so
absolutely.
can people not in Massachusetts work with
Oh yeah,
you? Okay, so
So
it
all
everywhere.
doesn't
over.
have to be in
Mhm.
person.
Yes, I've worked in
Oh,
California, everywhere. You name it, Canada, everywhere.
So they
We can
just
do it
send you
virtual.
stuff or
Yep, we just communicate via Zoom. I do Zoom sessions in
love
my
it.
aligned program where I offer both tests. You get 10 sessions, you get personalized reports, coaching, all the things. I even do my yoga and tapping. Most of it is online. My in-person clients are here in Mass, obviously.
Mhm.
But I can do all the support through Zoom.
Perfect.
Amazing. And I know I was
Mhm.
just trying to end the show, but give me 2 more minutes here. Tell us about tapping because we forgot to talk about that.
Yes. Oh, okay. So first, it's so funny. When I was all jacked up with anxiety and hating my life, I was seeing this coach and she was like, "You should do this tapping." And I'm like, "What is that?" Now, mind you, I hadn't found yoga yet. So I was
Mhm.
not connected to my body. So you literally, you tap on the same meridians that they use in
Mhm.
acupuncture.
Mm.
And so I blew it off, got into yoga years later. Don't tell me when, or don't ask me when I found tapping because
Mhm.
I honestly don't remember anymore. And what you do is you
Hmm.
are using the meridians of acupuncture and you're pulling up, most of our thoughts are in our limbic system and they're negative, right? In our
Mhm.
anxious brain. In the
Mhm.
amygdala, they just on repeat in different versions.
Right.
So let's just pull something out like anxiety in your body. You have a lot of anxiety in your body, your chest feels tight all the time. What I do is I have scripts and I listen to your language and I write scripts and we start tapping on those meridians and we start talking about the anxiety. And we talk about it as a negative thing first. Like we know we have this, we don't like it, it sucks, we move around. And then we start to put in the positives and we thank
Mhm.
ourselves maybe for why we have it. We visualize how it
Mhm.
could be serving us. There's different scripts, but we
Interesting.
move through the body and it's an
Hmm.
energy psychology that's taking you from a sympathetic state to a parasympathetic state.
Mm.
And it's paired with psychology. It's busting up
Mhm.
those nasty things you're telling yourself and it's allowing your nervous system to find a different way.
And you know, it
I love
actually
that.
works. When my girlfriend's mom, my best friend's mom actually got me a book for it. And through the heat of it, I have forgotten, I hadn't done it. I haven't done it in a while, but in that time, it actually does work. And you're, telling yourself positive thoughts and trying to be positive. Yeah. It's
Yes.
interesting how it works, but it
It's
works.
amazing.
Hmm.
And I love it through metaphors. So let's say you had like anxiety and you're like, I see this anxiety and I'm like, okay, well, what color is it? And you say it's red.
Hmm.
And I say, okay, can you put it in your hand? I can. And it's what shape is it? And we talk
Hmm.
about it. We give it
Hmm.
like all these characteristics. Then we tap through it
Hmm.
and
Oh,
the color
interesting.
changes, the shape changes, and you start to let go. I use a number system, 0 to 10, to help figure out, like how bad's the anxiety? 10. It's a 10. I'm
Hmm.
jacked up. It's bad. By the end, I get people down to 2 to 3 to 0.
Hmm.
Wow.
And it was amazing. I had a lady the other night. She'd gone through something very traumatic and she hadn't been sleeping. And we got on and we tapped and she slept that night for the first time. And she,
Amazing.
Right.
from tapping. Yeah. Again, it's the importance of healing the nervous system,
Hmm.
like being aware of your body, being connected, feeling the feelings, and knowing how to move them and
Hmm.
sit with them.
Hmm.
Wow.
It's
I've never
amazing.
heard of that, but I love it.
Right.
I am so
Yeah.
Want to
interested.
tap later?
Yeah,
It's
right.
awesome. I know. We
There's
could,
a lot of things I need
I
to do
know.
after this.
This is a great one.
if you have me back on, we can do some tapping.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
perfect.
Yes, definitely. Okay. Well, I am going to say goodbye for now, but thank you
Thank you,
so
ladies.
much for
Mhm.
being here. You are an absolute wealth of knowledge, and I'm really excited for our listeners to hear what you had to say.
Well, you ladies are awesome, and putting your stories out there and sharing what you're going through, I think is super powerful for
Thank you.
everybody
Thank
that's
you.
going through it, because they need people like you
Or,
to know that it's going to be okay.
right?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was great.
I feel like every episode, as
It's
soon as I
getting
put the
better.
person backstage, I'm just like,
Mhm.
wow. Like I'm blown away by
Yeah.
the people we've had on to be able to
Mhm.
interview. Like
It has been amazing. There's so much stuff out
there
there.
are so many smart people out there.
Right?
And
This one I'm excited for.
this one really
This
hits
one
home.
really hits home.
I know.
Yeah.
Taimi, you can hear us backstage. We're coming for
Well,
you.
yeah, just wait.
We have questions. If you want to contact Taimi, if you want
Mhm.
to be a patient of hers, which I absolutely 1,000,000% recommend,
Mhm.
head to astretchbeyondyoga.com where you can get in touch with her or more active with a lot of free content on
Mhm.
Instagram at astretchbeyondyoga. Once again, check
Yes.
out ours. Look, it's actually
Yeah.
pointing the right way this time. 2 Girls Without Cancer on all the socials. And also, I think we had talked about this briefly. We are now officially being streamed on Rhode Island Broadcasting. We are nowhere near Rhode Island. Okay. We are in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Rhode Island is not even on the same side of a country. Okay. Not on a continent.
Right.
So, but I do a podcast with them in the mornings as well. So they have picked up a 2 Girls Without Cancer. They will be airing it every Friday night.
Perfect.
A new episode. So head over YouTube, Facebook, Twitch at Rhode Island Broadcasting, and you can watch us there on Friday nights. And of course, just follow on ours as well.
Thank you guys.
We will be back next week with another amazing guest. Bye.
Yeah.